Hi guys, welcome to the Stage Performance Podcast. Hi everyone, welcome to the Stage Performance Podcast. Today was a really insightful conversation that I had with David Scott, who is the owner of Mr. Karma Productions. So Mr. Karma Productions is a multi-award winning video marketing company, and David works with both small businesses and global enterprises. And it was really interesting today because while I kind of intended to go down the route of, how he does what he does, what I really learned about David is that he has a really fascinating outlook on human emotion and psychology. And so the conversation gravitated much more spiritually and deep. I think it'll be a really interesting listen for everyone, and I hope we all learn something. So it's really nice to see you again, David. I feel like there was a time when we just used to be like working together all the time, and now like we've got our own things, and you were a massive part in helping me like become a. But I actually feel you're like a mentor. Do you know what I mean?
Mentor,
You know?
man. Like, thankfully, probably most people that will see this will not have a clue about me. So, like, our mentors definitely complimentary. Mental is more accurate. But
Maybe a bit of both, but no, you were a massive part in helping me kind of start up my own business. So, when you look at all the stuff that you've done, whether it's Mr. Karma or the stuff for Coast Entertainment, or even you being really musical as well, like there's a lot to take inspiration from. So you're actually probably one of the most versatile creators I've ever met. So
thanks for inflating my ego right at the start.
you've
Right,
got
guys.
it's a worthy ego though. Like some people have it, and I was actually talking to someone about this the other day when we were talking about egos. You'll probably understand this as well. Like, see, the more you know, like the more you what was the quote? It's like the more you learn, the more you realize how little you actually know.
It's essentially the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? So
Yeah.
the people that are opinionated and specialised tend to be they actually know little probably about the subject little about the subject they're talking about, but they know enough to think they know everything that needs
Right,
to know.
yeah.
It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Well, it's so funny because, like, see, if you look at music, I know a lot of pop. Well, I'm not going to name names, right? But when I was younger, there was a lot of pop musicians, kind of like in busking and stuff, that didn't know many chords. So, like, they could only play with the cap on, and they would be so
CG
confident,
minor F
right?
or
Yeah,
GD minor
exactly.
C, whatever,
And
aye.
then there's a lot of classical musicians I know that are like out of this world playing. Like they've done a lot of orchestral stuff. They've played with like the what's the one called in the Glasgow Philharmonic and stuff like that. And they're really shy. They're really like, oh, I don't know anything about the instrument, and that can be really fascinating to watch. Like the contrast in abilities. Yet the egos are so different. Like one
Yeah.
has learned so much more and they're so much shyer, and someone knows nothing and they're like, I'm the
I
best.
think that ego basically is how does it? It's basically it counteracts fear, right? So the ego is the mask in it. So like I think we stuff like that, certainly musicians, what you'll take for me, I think a really good musician, I said this before to you, I think is like a really good musician knows when not to play.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's actually going, you want to know what? It's almost like trying to create low entropy in consciousness. So what that means is to basically create more order and realise the bigger picture, right?
I'm smiling because I remember you said that to me in the very early days. You might not even remember this, but I remember like you said that quote, and I listened to a lot of the kind of live footage that I was doing at the time because it was quite new to the Ibiza sax, and a lot of that at the time was just kind of like vibing along with the track. There was no silence. I just kept playing constantly over everything, and I think when I heard that quote, it was a kind of right, okay, you don't have to play when the singer's singing. You don't have to play when the.
It's a constant battle, that stuff, right? Because the Ibiza sax stuff needs a bit of flair and it needs a wee bit of frontman and showman and ego, right? For that anyway. But like as a collective, if you were playing with, I don't know, like a group of people, it's given the space to play the part. So, but I think it's duality, right? There's times for both.
There's time for everything.
Aye.
I think there's times to be humble and there's times to be confident. There's times to be kind of ruthless and there's times to be amicable. Like life is that constant duality in a way. But see, we're in the kind of topic of like knowledge and ego and stuff like that. You've done a lot of things, whether it's been the videography, whether it's been the music, and kind of like running businesses as well. How long would you say it took you to get to a stage when you felt you know enough to kind of go into all of that and set all of those things up?
I don't think I ever know. You never know enough. Like, it's weird because I think people put success with intelligence, or they put success with
very much so.
Somebody's drive.
And
So
I think
ba-
sorry, go
I
on.
know. Well, basically, what I was going to say is like with any of that stuff is like just the doing of it is, or trying in it. But like that's what it is. Like I would much rather work 100 hours a week, like I often do, to work for myself rather than work for anyone else. And I've worked for companies. I've started with humble beginnings. I worked for global companies as well, and there is no feeling like being on your own, being sole responsibility for your family's income might seem like a lot of pressure, or even if you're just young, like, and you've got less responsibilities, then it still feels like a pressure, but it's living, man. It's like somebody said to me, you're never truly living till you're living on the seat of your pants, basically. Like, I think there's so much things in life you can't plan for, so sometimes it's just one foot in front of the other, just do, right?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people wait for the perfect moment to do anything, you know, with you can do that on the small scale, whether it's like starting the gym or something like that. They might be like, oh, I'll wait till I lose a little bit and then start.
But what people usually do is, and psychology supports this, is they wait till life regresses so bad that they can't deal with it to do something about it. And that's the biggest mistake. So, for example, if somebody's overweight, they're going to look in the mirror until they're so disgusted with themselves, what they see back, that's that point they'll do something about it. So sometimes you need to get more uncomfortable and take a step backwards in order to progress that way. And jobs are a perfect example of that. Is sometimes you've got to have a really shit job or a really bad experience to actually go, right, enough's enough. Like, it's time to actually just do something else, or actually, do you want to know what? Follow your dream. And it's quite a tricky thing because it is a paradox of, if you're in a place of zero self-belief and self-confidence, which I think is everything, like, how do you leap forward by going backwards?
And I think when there's such a, like, a lot of people say, you know, confidence and charisma is the key to opportunity as well.
It's also be a downfall, right?
I think so too, because it's something that, and I think it kind of contributes to that idea of ego. People feel like when the stigma, well, I don't know if stigma is a word, but like confidence seems to be the thing that is most desirable when it comes to performance, at least, even at the expense of ability.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of that's came from the social contagions of how people are inspired these days, or how even people learn. Like, everyone's a fucking expert these days, right? It's the social contagion of like Instagram, where everyone appears confident. Somebody's selling you a course how to be confident, right? Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, confidence for me is an interchangeable word with experience. So experience you've had, and there's been favourable outcomes. So if somebody's had lots of experience in said subject and they've had favourable outcomes in and around that field, they're going to be pretty confident, right? So it's just, I don't know where we're going with that, but like,
no, well, it's interesting actually, because
Aye.
like, see, when you think of like, when you're saying this is quite an intelligent sentence to try and formulate, so I'll do my best, but it's the idea that, see, when we go back to the very start when you were saying about intelligence, you know, see, when you look at like the education system and stuff, it's all about, right, if you get all these A's, then you're really smart.
Yeah.
And then you see a lot of those people to do so, and I'm not having a go at teachers at all, right, but especially in music, you see a lot of people that have got like the best recital marks, have got the best this, they have actual no life experience when it comes to actually going out and performing or doing anything. They don't know how to work a mixer, and then they'll go on to teach.
Yeah.
But a lot of the teachers that seem to do that kind of thing I'm not saying they're necessarily all bad people at all. Like some people genuinely have a vocation to go and do that kind of thing. But I really agree. I think like the player that might not have had the best marks but went out to kind of learn how to kind of operate in the industry is going to have far more advice to actually give a kid at some point.
Oh, totally. And I think sometimes some people, like if they're a teacher, everyone's individual experience of life's different. They might be a bit disgruntled that life hasn't worked out the way they wanted to, so they're maybe a bit jaded. Or you do get the opposite. You get those people that...
Yeah, that's actually a very good point, actually. You do get teachers that probably go into that
I missed
field.
my shot, so you're not
Yeah,
like yours.
exactly. And I think every one of us have experienced that at one point, and then you have to push through that teacher in order to get where you want to be, you know?
Should say, by the way, that's no knock at teachers. And it's
Not
but
at all,
I mean,
no,
that's
but-
every aspect of life, right? That
Yeah.
could be your job at McDonald's, like your
Yeah,
boss. Or,
but there are some people that genuinely, and I know some, and they're excellent teachers who genuinely have a vocation for it, and they do it. But I think it goes back to that idea of like anything that you do from the heart is going to feel better than anything you'll ever
Aye.
do.
It's being true to yourself.
Right,
Like,
and there
it's-
are people that go in to do teaching for that, like they really care about it, and that's the people that should be doing it. I think the people that honestly didn't want to do it shouldn't have went into it in the first place, because that has a really negative effect on the student if they're only doing it for the money, and you know.
I mean, for those type of people, you can't really blame them sometimes, though, because it's like most adults don't know what they want to do with their life. And yet we put pressure on kids to have it figured out by 15, 16. What are you going to do? What's your career? Like, and that's why I think there's loads of middle-age breakdowns and stuff like that, because people missed what they wanted to do because they based it on, that's the negative aspect. You go, I want something that gives me status, material stuff, cars, shit like that. And we've all got a wee bit of that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but sometimes that can take them down the wrong path. And again,
Yeah.
it's not even like a, that's what I'm saying, teacher's example. It's just, in essence, human beings. I think the whole purpose is existing is to know thyself, right? Figure out, how do I work in, as an individual, consciousness? Like, how do I play my part to serve other human beings? Like, how it doesn't matter how bright your light shines, basically. How do I serve, like, others? Like, where's my purpose? You know what I
Right.
mean? So we've all got the same thing. This is went deep, mate.
Yeah, no, but I love it, you know. It's not that they're intended, but like it's actually worked out better than.
It works out a hell of a lot better for the, well...
It's good for the soul, though. Like,
Oh, aye, like, but for have you seen how you've heard some of the stories, probably no fit for this, how I grew up and how mental I was, like...
yeah. But is that what gave you the drive to do what you do? Would you say a lot of it was the upbringing, or did it come later in life?
No, like, I've kind of just... Like, I think, like anyone, you get lucky with how things work out. Like, I think when you're talking about intelligence a couple of minutes ago, but like, I think there's like an intuitive intelligence. There's actually sometimes you just follow where your gut goes
Yeah.
and you land there. And everything I've done in life, I've started with the base up. Like there was like, it wasn't like I got lucky each time. There was, like anything, you get moments which feels like you're in stagnation.
How would you define luck?
Luck is where, what is it, preparation and opportunity meet is the
Yeah.
old saying. But no, there's luck's interesting. I read a book recently called The Luck Factor. I think the guy who's the author, Richard Wiseman. It's great. It's a book, it's a psychological study, like research with over 20 years on lucky people and unlucky people. And it's basically their outlook in life. They've got certain personality profiles. Now, the good thing about that was, after learning about all of that, is going, right, okay, if that's the case, can unlucky people become lucky? And the answers are resounding yes. So, but it's like anything, it's like, yeah, glass half full, glass half empty kind of vibe. So there's...
How would you have to use up the unluckiness in order to get to the lucky, or is it?
It's not. It's,
Because I heard a quote and it was like, there wasn't a direct answer to it, but it was a rhetorical. If you knew you had 30 failures before you got the success, how fast would you try and fail? And it made me think, like, is that a thing? Like, would you just, right, get all these opportunities that you don't really want to do,
I
and
think
then
the foundations of luck, if you think, if I'm a lucky person, is self-belief. Like, and sometimes, like, you get the pure spirituals that bash about ego. Like, and ego unchecked is unhealthy, but the ego sometimes is what is it? It's your delusions of your own life based on the epigenetics of who you are, how you've grown up, your environment. But if you think about, if you have enough self-belief to go, I feel unhappy here, I know I'm worth more, that creates luck. Like, do you know what I mean? Having self-belief, I think, is enough where you can have the thing of going, hold my beer when somebody goes, that can't be done. And people mistake that for arrogance. I get that all the time. But it's like, I've kind of got one of the personalities. If somebody says, you can't do that, what are you doing that for? Like, oh, mate, that's too big for you.
I do think that's a healthy reaction to have, though, because what's the alternative? You say, oh, okay. And then, like, if someone has limitations for you, I think it's healthier to want to prove them wrong to then just accept the limitations of someone that barely knows you, you know?
That's it. I mean, I think there's a lot of pussies these days. Do you know what I mean? They go, oh, can't do that. And or not so much, it's the victim explaining the mentality that holds people back. But that's, again, a social contagion by how we've evolved over the last 10 years, particularly COVID times, is a catalyst for creating doom-scrolling zombies who are emotionally wrecked. Like, and it's that victim-splaining, and that's why you're seeing the polarisation of left and right viewpoints and that. And now everything has to be drama and chaos. Cause
I think one of the things that doesn't help people is that algorithms, typically, if you like one thing, it puts you in echo chambers. And so you're put in positions. So say you like a Manosphere post of like, go to the gym. Okay, then it's then we all hate women now or something. And then you're put in an echo chamber with a lot of people that believe that kind of thing. And it becomes either you don't see any balanced dialogue outside of, universal, praise or unanimous disagreement with someone.
But see, to be fair, like, see, all of that stuff, it's just human beings, like, and individual personalities. Like, if you can switch off it, like, the worst thing to do is like sitting doom scroll, and all of a sudden you'll see something that resonates with you, and the algorithm's going to feed you more and feed you more. So as it altering people's personalities.
Would you say that's the biggest thing that holds people back, like particularly young people, or would you say that it's like a combination of just a lot of things?
I think I'm underqualified to answer that.
No, fair.
But like, I don't know. Like, I've got a 7-year-old daughter, and she loves Roblox, and I don't like her playing it a lot. Like, but am I right or am I wrong? Like, I want her to go out and play on a bike, like, go out, play with friends. Like, that's what we experience as a normal childhood. But this is uncharted territory, and evolution has happened so fast, especially the new age of AI coming in and stuff like that. So it's like nobody knows the right way of the right answer to any of that. Like, we're in uncharted territory.
What's actually interesting about AI, I don't know if you've seen this, is one, AI covers, so they'll get fictional characters, like say SpongeBob for instance, and it'll be singing like Sabrina Carpenter. I think it's scary how accurate the voice is.
Aye.
And you also get AI composing completely new music, and some of it is actually really good. And it's like, how do you account for that kind of thing when it comes to Spotify? Like, who would get the rights to that song because it wasn't a human that made it? That's all problems now that you're kind of like, are we equipped to deal with that? Do we have a solution?
It's like anything that we need to evolve, right? So the human bandwidth has to expand with technology. But I don't know. It's hey, I probably won't have a job in
well, while you do have a job, though, out of all the things that you do, whether it's the kind of music video things or the adverts or what would you say is your favourite line of work that you do?
That's a good question. I don't know, but probably making adverts. So like it feels like having a background in sales and marketing, like before I started a video production company, came in real handy because a video is essentially a virtual salesperson. It's not, people confuse video with marketing. Most people don't understand the difference between marketing and sales. But a video marketing is basically understanding the behaviours and impulses like of a human being. That's good marketing. The surface level marketing that most marketing companies operate is on its demographics, like, your market is 75% female, 30 to 35, and they have annual income of £45,000. Like, that's surface level stuff. Your competitors already got that. That's no marketing. But marketing's more so on those desires, those beliefs, their values, what's keeping them awake at night, their hopes, their fears, their aspirations. That's marketing. But see, as soon as you take that and you put it into creating a video, or like it's essentially a salesperson that has to make somebody feel something, do something, not necessarily buy a product. I think people think it's straight A to B. If it's a simple, cheap product, that's pretty easy. But if you're selling something that's thousands or tens of thousands or even millions of pounds, then it's a long road to A to B. But it still has to get somebody to do something, where it's to pique their curiosity enough to visit a website or exchange their email information for more information. So therefore it's sales. So I think I love making adverts because you have to understand the customer avatar of a business better than the business is.
Would you say as well it gives you a chance to be creative in ways that like other things? So for example, like see when you're doing especially your gigs, sometimes it can feel like, is for me specifically, like when you're going in, it doesn't mean to say you don't enjoy doing it, you absolutely do, but you know what songs you're going to play. In the same way that if you go to a shoot, like you know roughly, it can become quite like, I know what I'm doing now, but creatively it can be unsatisfying. So
yeah, so I think there's something called the digital paradox. I think it was Simon Sinek that coined it, which basically says it's never been easier to get content out there, right? Like right now, but it's the paradox side. It's never been harder to be heard because there's so much noise because everyone's doing it. Like, so that keeps my job interesting enough. And it's weird, the whole creative thing. Like, is it a personality? Is it epigenetics, the environment you're in, that makes you creative or not? Nobody knows, but it's not. It doesn't satiate me in terms of I don't get a desire for that. I need to be creative. Like, I'm thinking naturally of going, like, how best do I serve, how best I get the outcome that I want from this video, like for a business. That's the puzzle that excites me.
I think
so maybe it is a creative solution. I don't know, but it's more so, how do I understand the behaviour of the people that they're trying to sell a product or service to? That's the stuff that excites me.
I feel like creativity though is quite a weird one, because when you mention it like that, it can be used in all sorts of different contexts. So you can be doing it for fun, you can be doing it to write a song, to like put on a piece of art or something, or you can be creative in a sense where, say, I don't know if you did this when you were at school, but say you had an essay that was due and you'd left it to the last minute to do it. It's amazing that your brain kind of goes into that problem solving mode of like, what do I need to do? And you seem to do really well at it. And sometimes urgency can bring out creativity.
Yeah, because you're not overthinking it. Like,
you're not, but it's amazing that you have to get into those situations to force your brain to go into that creative mode, you know?
I don't know. It's like a flow state. I mean, I can sit down to do an edit and it could take me 8 hours. It could take me 20 hours. It could take me, depending on the size of the job, obviously. But then I could do, for example, I could have something very similar and I can get it done in an hour and a half because I'm in some sort of flow state. So in terms of, unfortunately, having a creative brain, I hate that kind of pretentious, oh, you're a creative, like, I'm not really an arty-farty dude, like, I don't kick
Where
about
would you say that comes from? Like,
there's the golden question that, like, this, even psychology hasn't quite got it nailed. Like, you could put it into the 4 personality quadrants, right?
I remember this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got your analytical. There's that personality matrix. There's like 400 variants of it, and it's all basically says the same stuff. You've got people that are really analytical. You've got people that are people. You've got people that are results-driven people, and then you've got people that are creative.
Do you
And you're a
remember
wee
the
bit
result that you got on that?
Oh, aye,
test?
I'd done that personality test for. I worked for a company called Electrox, so they're a global company, they're massive, right? I had a great job with them before I started this, so that would have been 2014, I think. Aye, and they put you through all these advanced negotiation courses or account management courses or personality tests to understand how to effectively communicate with people, and I'd done that, and I came out obviously. The creative point, you're a wee bit of everything. The idea is the perfect personality is a square. Doesn't really exist, right?
What were the 4 just for the people? That
So you've got analytical, which are people that like things factually accurate. They're slow decision makers. They are kind of more people orientated and task driven, right? So they're a bit of an anomaly. You've then got amiable people, which are like people. So again, they're a wee bit more slow paced. They put their value into people before things. So those tend to be people that go into like teaching, nursing, that kind of thing. They get upset when they get the next person, like a driver, who's somebody results driven that just barks an order at them and doesn't ask how their day was. And drivers are people that are results driven. They're no afraid to like tread on their granny's toes to get a result. Do you know what I mean? Or take a shortcut. Like they're quite materialistic, but they get shit done type of people.
Yeah.
And then you have expressives or creatives, which are problem solvers. They are egotistical maniacs. Like they obviously their own voice. And they come up with amazing ideas, but they're not attention detailed focused like the analyticals are. And each opposite quadrant diagonally that's a personality clash. So amiable people clash with drivers, and typically expressive creative people clash with analyticals. Now my shape was I was actually highly analytical, highly driven.
I remember this.
Super creative, but where I lacked was the people side.
Well, do you know why that's so funny?
intelligence
Because
on
I
it.
remember
So-
it was you that told me to kind of look at the test, and I remember it was the triangle analogy.
Yeah.
You had the analytical, you had the expressive, and the driver, whereas mine was the exact opposite. It was the analytical, expressive, and amiable.
Yeah.
But do you know why that test was really useful? I think because it can make you aware of your temperament, your strengths, and your flaws. And I was 100%, in some ways still am, but I've tried to get better at it. The idea that, you know, if I'm saying, hi, how's your day? And the person's like, fine. That's the kind of person that I'm like, I don't know what to do.
So I use that kind of structure and formula for creating every advert I've ever created. Like, but also, like, the place like Business Gateway and that, I've done like, let's teach your business how to market online courses and that, where they chuck me a chunky money for teaching for 4 hours to businesses, and I use that personality thing to basically teach them how to effectively communicate to the market. That's exactly what I'm doing. See what I mean? So if you sweat your customer avatar, what you'll find is they'll sit in one of those demographics, and all you need to figure out is whatever personality it is, how do they like to be spoken to? So if it's analytical, they want facts and figures. They're not buying the day. They're slow acting. They're going to procrastinate. They're going to research. So all your stuff you've got to give them is accurate. If it's a people person, you've got to make them feel like you want to get to know them. If you're, for example, you're selling a people person a car, like, well, you want to know, all right, okay, you've got 4 kids. Oh, how you're going on holiday? Are we going? Oh, that's great. I've been there. That's brilliant. Like, this car would be perfect for, like, oh, so you do, right, football and that, so you need to book space. Here's the car for you. Like, that's the way you'd sell it, based around their family, their needs. You make them feel special. If it's somebody ego-driven, you sell, or a creative, should I say, because they're ego-driven, you sell on them, you make it all about them. You make them feel amazing. Like,
See, what I'd actually like to ask, because I think it'd be really kind of beneficial to learn this. I think an amicable person, is it amiable or amicable? Same thing. Okay,
amiable,
amiable.
but
Okay,
I'm
if you call it how would they best communicate with the driver? Because I think that's the hardest one.
oh, but well, it's because they're opposites, so
Exactly.
always going to clash. So the driver, for example, might be an Amable's boss and sends him a blunt email going, "Get this done by the end of play today." Like, and even that the temperament that driver isn't meaning to be a dick, right? But they feel he's a dick. They're going to hold that. They're people that'll
You do, yeah.
with their heart on their sleeve. Best way to deal with that is actually known for the fact that you're speaking to a driver. So just go, right, it's just their personality, right?
Yeah, and I think
It
you can
doesn't mean to
become a
say they
lot.
hate me, because you get people question that. And a lot of time, the irony is with amiable people, that people, some of them try so hard to get on with people that they kind of have this disconnect because it's inauthentic. Do you know what I mean? Where they're trying so hard to fit in. So it's just about knowing how people.
That feels quite ironic, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's nice to know that you're not bound by any of them.
No, yeah,
and you're supposed to take qualities from all of them. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of times of default, times of stress, or times of default personality where you're not thinking in your environment, who's around you, like, you will peak in one of them, but doesn't mean to say that's all we are. Like, so,
You can still strive to be the
aye.
one that you want to be.
100%.
Yeah. And I
This
think
has been random.
It doesn't
No,
matter
I'm sorry.
because
As long as
it's
you're sorry.
when. Well, let's make it more about you. I would like to know more about these.
Oh, my shameless plug,
Yeah.
my.
I was trying to find the right
You
time to
can
bring
do
it up
you
now.
can do the
Okay.
plug then. How's
Okay,
that?
right.
There we go. I mean, they are the fanciest doorstops you'll ever see, right? These are Tele Awards. So we've run Tele Awards, which is a industry-specific award for everything non-tele or advertising. So we won a gold in our People's Tele Award, which is awesome. That was amazing. And we won a bronze, which is pretty cool because there's the judges are like Discovery Channel, Roku, and all that.
All right, cool, nice.
But we won a bronze for branded content, and that's a worldwide thing. So it's pretty cool.
Did you win them quite close together?
Oh no, so yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
They were one at the same time, but for different categories. So
How did it make you feel when you done it?
all right. I mean, it's like.
So you expecting this was the greatest day ever. It made it all completely
see, to be
worth
fair,
it.
it's one of the things I don't always want to. I mean, awards can seem wanky. I mean, we've had. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
You can
Don't
beat
worry.
that, or your editors can beat that if it's too much. But it's like anything. It's like, I remember. It just depends on. I mean, because that's industry specific, I don't mind it. But I mean, we've won. I'll not mention the award company. We've won production company of the year, and you're like, oh, sounds amazing.
I
But
think
it's
you won
from-
that at the time when I just met you.
Yeah.
That was just as you'd won that. It's not like I came through purely because you'd won that.
No, but
it was.
I mean,
it was
don't-
just coincidence because I can't remember where I met. Who was it? I think it was my cousin that knew someone that knew you, and that's why I got in touch.
I mean, things like that can help potential clients drop off the fence and onto your grass, right? But I mean, that's the whole purpose of awards. But I mean, it doesn't make you any better than anyone else in the industry.
No, but
Do you know
I
what I mean?
think, you see, when you go back to the whole idea of ego and security and stuff, sometimes it takes getting the badge to realise it's not everything. And
Oh, aye.
I would say, personally, I kind of went through that with RCS. I really wanted the Conservatoire badge because through childhood there wasn't many people that had it, and I felt as if and now these guys were much older than me, but a lot of the people that I knew that had it and were quite well known, I didn't think they were all nice people.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, being a musician as well, I get it, and there is a stigmatism with for anyone external for RCS. They go, RCS, it might be a bit wanky. I've double done it. Sorry, but you know what I mean. Lethal Man, that makes it more authentic.
No,
But,
do you know what?
but you kind of get that vibe, and all of that is young. When you're young, your self-awareness isn't the bigger picture, like I was saying earlier. So it is all egocentric, and that's where, I mean, I get it all the time. With any industry, it's always the same. What you'll find is people need that status to make themselves have a bit of self-belief or feel good. But
Honestly,
some
I'd be
people,
the first to admit. Like,
Yeah.
I told myself like I'd be nothing without that
do
badge.
you remember I told you to quit your last final year?
I just couldn't.
Sorry to
But
your mum
sometimes
and
it's
dad,
like
but I was like,
no,
you don't need it.
it's not. I know that, but sometimes it's not just about that. Even if the kind of spell had been broken and I'd seen that it wasn't everything, it's like you just want to finish what you started. And as much as I knew kind of at that point the course didn't play to my strengths, and I didn't always enjoy it. The teachers there were brand new. Like they were the type of teachers that had completely done what a lot of we'd done, and they had that life experience to really answer the questions. Not all of them, but a lot of them did. And I felt as if even if I don't go on to do classical music, I still want to finish what I'd started, you know?
Yeah, it's not just unique to RCS. It's like anything. So I have sometimes a lot of film students. Like I've had a recent bunch actually that came out have been really good, but you get a lot of them coming out and they've got their honours degree or they're studying a masters and they come out and they want work experience, and you slowly see them realising, how do I not know that? Or why should I not know that? Because I still think universities aren't set up right to teach the real world how things are done. Certainly in my industry. And it was even for me, I studied at SE, Audio Engineering School.
Yeah.
And arguably the best place to go learn audio engineering. But see, as soon as you come out, as soon as you go into a studio, you're a noob. You don't have the same sort of skill set or ear as a professional because you're a noob. And what you got to realise is, like, see all the stuff I learned. Like, this is what intelligence is. It's not about how book smart you are or how good your grades are. It's your ability to learn and learn and relearn. That's it. That's what's going to make anyone successful in life. And you kind of got to go in with everything and going, right, actually, do you want to know what? How do I avoid the Dunning-Kruger effect, like we said earlier?
Yeah.
Like, I just need to keep evolving.
And I think
change.
you have to pay attention to yourself and really listen if the people around you say, you know, and I'm not just saying any random person, but if your close people say you were a bit arrogant there, or you shouldn't have said this, or maybe do believe in yourself more here, like the people that you really surround yourself with, if they're good people, they're going to give you the advice that's going to best benefit you. And I think you should always listen to that.
That's essentially epigenetics, right? That's the environment you're in dictates who you are, your personality, your health, right? So it's but you've got to have enough gumption and self-belief to go, at the end of the day, I'm solely responsible for my life, so the decision always stops with me, regardless of the influence or the optics from other people. That can be a hard thing to do.
It's really hard, especially if there's goodwill coming from the advice that you don't agree with. I think if your parents or like your friends and everyone's saying, you know, that's a bad idea, don't do that, you know, it takes some level of stubbornness, and it's not always the right thing to do. And I've made the mistake many times, but it's the idea of, I just want to see for myself if I'm right or wrong.
We're here to learn and grow, man. That's my meaning of life anyway. But here's a perfect example of that was, I'd probably fucked around most of my life. Like I'd done shit at school, right? But I messed around most of my life. I got into my 20s and I was working in retail, and just like anything, like just slowly but surely that lock factor landed on my feet. I was great at sales. Like I had to be in sales for I was like 16-year-old. So I had to pay for my education at SE. That wasn't funded back in the day. So I had to go out and get a job. I'd done telesales. I worked in selling insurance, like everything, you know, you name it. So I was in sales for 16-year-old, right? And I got to the point where I managed to jump out of the world of that, the world of retail, which is like, sometimes can feel like a dead end, into a global company. I jumped onto a job that was like way bigger than me, and I held on the coattails till I realised I was consciously competent and done really well at it, to the point I got headhunted by another global company. And I was like, ego, like, they're like, the job's yours, you're going to be the sales director of a global company. Like, when the 6 months the sales director's retiring, this is the post they're filling, they're chucking you money. I got a 20 grand chucked at me just to take the job, pretty much. Do you know what I mean? As a wee warming gift, as long as I stayed for 8 weeks. And I was led by ego, because I was like, this is before I was 30-year-old, right? I'm like, and everyone told me, because as soon as I was in that job, I realised it ain't what it's cracked up to be. I hated the pressure. Their marketing sucked. This was the inspiration for Mr. Cam in the first place. The marketing sucked, so therefore the sales process was laborious and hard. Like, you had to generate leads out of thin air for a product that lasted 15, 20 years. So there's trying to get people that are needing that product again. That's quite hard. So, and I wanted to leave that job, and it took me forever because my ego was in place. I was thinking, what's my neighbours going to think when out comes my nice BMW out the drive, which is a company car, and I have to get a van. Like, because I had the idea, I want to start a production company. I want to make adverts for a living. I've seen how bad the big guys are doing it. I know this. I'm ready for it. Like, and it took me months because my ego held me back, and everyone told me, "Don't do that. Are you crazy? Why are you leaving that job?" Like, and it was the best thing I ever done. But everyone, apart from my wife, like, everyone told me, "Don't leave, don't leave." So sometimes you've got to stick with your own beliefs, and I did. And here, obviously, the first couple of years of starting a business was hard, right? But
it worked, yeah.
10 years later, roughly, like, I've got a business.
When you've won awards.
I've won awards. I'm debt and mortgage free. I'm happy, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
and that's not even all that you do. You know, you have so many things.
but it's the thing, all the things that people do, that's where they think that's their identity and their purpose, and it isn't. You know, I think your identity and purpose is actually just to enjoy life, live in the moment, learn for everything you do, all that. Don't crucify yourself for making an error in judgment. I could have made an error in judgment when I dropped that job. Like, thankfully it wasn't. But it's like...
So don't hold on to your past mistakes. Just
How do you evolve your consciousness? Like, or should I say that, lower the entropy? But do you know what that means? So if you're lowering your entropy in the conscious, means you're creating more order. The basic thing is, what you want to do is have a life that's got more love, compassion and empathy for others.
I think you see a lot of people put the armour on once they've been stung. So say they've failed at launching a business, but more personally, maybe, like, say they've been brutally rejected from someone that they really liked, or they went through a massive breakup, or like there was, you know, a fallout or something. You see a lot of people put the armour on and just never allow themselves to feel anything again.
Yeah, then they don't live, man.
They don't.
Live.
But it's sad to see. But the thing I would always say is that if you put that armour on, you might protect yourself from being hurt again, but you'll never actually feel happy again.
Nah. And the hardest thing is, you get a lot of people that try and influence somebody like that to change and do that. And the truth is, you can't, because you're not a perfect model yourself. And I think, like, anything like that is, all you can do is inspire by doing what you do and being you. If somebody goes, you want to know what I like? Cut that guy's jib. I like his moxie. Like, I'm going to take a wee bit of inspiration for that. Or you want to know what? I see what that person's doing.
As long as it's organic.
That could be me.
Yeah.
Aye, that could be me in 5 years. But it's like, we're in the age of nothing's organic, right? Everything, I mean, if you look on social media, it's just chaos, and it's everyone being fake as F. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so if there's one piece of advice you would give specifically to young people to try and not fall into that, what would you think it would be? You
are enough. Follow whatever feels true to you, regardless of how the optics the others are. That's dead easy to say, is don't let what other people think hold you back. But I think probably the best way of doing any of that is don't judge others, because see, as soon as you try, and that's a hard thing to do, I still do it.
Yeah.
I judged the arsehole who cut me off on the way here. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's it's if you can try and catch yourself, be conscious of being conscious and try and catch yourself with judging others.
Conscious
like,
of being conscious.
Then all of a sudden that you're not worrying about what other people think, because you're not judging them. And as soon as you're not worrying about what other people think, and you're doing everything from the right intention will always produce the right result. So if you're doing something for a place of passion or love and it's got a good intention, you're always going to get a result if you follow it.
I've never heard that before. Say it again. The right intention will always produce the right result.
Aye. So like,
how does that apply in the failure? Is it like at least you
you
tried
don't,
kind
you
of
don't
thing?
fail
Like,
until you quit.
right.
Like, so I mean, let's say Mr. Karma ran out of money, which it almost did near the start of it. Like, but let's say it ran out of money. Like, did I give up? Did I go back into global corporate world wanting for them? Like, if I make the conscious choice of wanting to do that, that's not failure. But see if I go, right, okay, how do I revive it? It's not quitting. So it's not failing. It's a lesson. It's learning and going, right, okay, like there was something up maybe with the business model, why that happened or whatever. So, but it's like anything, you can't fail if you don't hang up your boots. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like Rocky or
No.
whatever. But you just dust yourself off and go, right, go, next.
Yeah.
But see, as soon as you let go of that fear of judgment for others about that, because that's the biggest fear of failure for people, is like, what are other people thinking? Don't give a shit about that. Like, if you go, I'm just being me, like, that's it. And a lot of people will hate you, like, for being yourself. That's cool. They know your people. They know your tribe. So if you don't fear what other people think, like, you're always going to find yourself in the happier side of life. And it's, but I think a lot of people just need the mindset shift. And that's where social media isn't healthy, because people think having more followers, more stuff makes them a better person or a smarter person, or like they chase success is what their eyes is. I get more and more material stuff. I get a bigger box to live in. I get a fancier car. Like, I have more people follow me and more people kissing my arse. That's not living. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, if you go, what's success marker for me? I get to spend time with my family. I get to go places. I get to travel. Like, I get to spend money and making memories. Come in here with nothing. We leave with nothing but memories, right? So if you go to spend money on anything, spend money on making memories. Like, go travelling or whatever. But, like, people chase the success thing, but they only chase the status and success thing because they care too much what other people think.
Yeah. Very profound.
I know we went deep, and I'm not social media, because my whole business is based around creating content on platforms like social media for businesses to thrive.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And on that
I'm good
note,
at it. Do you know what I mean?
I think an appropriate final question then is, where can people find Mr. Karma? What's the best place to get in contact?
Probably, well, website, the emails are there. Like, so David at Mr. Karma. Oh, wait a minute. Aye, David at MrKarmaProductions.co.uk. Like, no spam, please. And Instagram, Facebook. I'm like, the irony is I'm like a joiner's house. I'm too busy making everyone else's social media amazing that mine's is a wee bit. It's
But it's
not
a nice
bad.
problem to have, right?
Yeah.
Because you've kind of got to that stage without having to have this, like, I'm not saying your Instagram or social medias are bad by any means.
No,
but
but
it's
I mean, that's it. I mean, I'm out shooting on average 5 to 6 shoots a week, and then I'm editing all of that up constantly.
there's not a
So
lot of
it's
time,
like,
so-
I'm like, I could be doing more. Like, my first next move is actually to bring in probably somebody to handle the social media, so I don't need to look at it for one, so I'm not getting caught doom scrolling, and second of all, to update us a wee bit more often how busy we actually are. But
Yeah, no, it looks great, and I feel very inspired after this conversation.
I mean, we went down the rabbit hole. Sorry for my
No,
foul
it's-
language,
no.
but it's, keep it real,
It's
man.
authentic, you know what I mean? And yeah, and thank you, because I think a lot of your words over the years have really inspired me to kind of go down certain paths. And I probably wouldn't be doing a lot of these things had you not given us the push to, just really try. So
I appreciate that. But
thank
you know I talk a lot of nonsense anyway, but
I
like,
separate the good from the bad. Yeah.
filter for gold.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and thanks guys for listening.
Thank you.